Behind the tall fences of HMP Rochester, where most inmates worry about how to pass the day, one man was running something far greater. Arturus Uaz, already serving time, refused to let prison walls cage his ambition. Smuggled mobile phones became his lifeline to the outside world. Through encrypted chats and loyal allies, he began building a network that reached far beyond the prison gates. From his cell, Uaz orchestrated a multi-million-pound smuggling empire, an operation that brought in vast quantities of drugs, tobacco, and contraband cigarettes. It was a reminder of just how porous the prison system can be and how dangerous one determined inmate could become. But Uaz couldn't do it alone. To keep such a machine moving, he needed trusted men on the ground. There was Joseph Goods, his reliable right-hand man. James Corbett, the logistics expert who could shift goods without raising suspicion. Russell King, always ready to keep deliveries moving. Others filled critical roles too. Anthony Moore, Lee Norris, Reza Sarabi, Christopher Budzko, and Tadas Lapsu. Each had their piece of the puzzle. Some drove vans, others moved cash. Some kept watch. Together, they operated less like a gang of criminals and more like a fully functioning business. And like any business, success depended on one thing: keeping the system running smoothly. The beauty of their method was its simplicity. Drugs, tobacco, and cash were packaged in ordinary cardboard boxes, the sort anyone might see in the back of a delivery van. Using white vans indistinguishable from thousands of others on British roads, the contraband was shifted between safe houses, laybys, and ferry crossings. Cars boarded ferries as if carrying nothing but everyday goods, while inside were carefully concealed consignments. Drivers used secret drop-off points across Kent and Sussex, leaving packages for others to collect. And all the while, communication stayed organized through WhatsApp groups, given names like Unload One. On the surface, they looked like tradesmen and delivery drivers going about their business. But beneath that cover, tens of millions of pounds in smuggled goods were being moved with startling efficiency. For months, their system ran almost flawlessly, but greed has a way of clouding judgment. In July 2023, the gang decided to gamble everything on one enormous consignment. The shipment contained 24.5 million pounds worth of cigarettes. It was meant to be their biggest payday, one job that could have set them up for life. But at a quiet lay-by in Mayfield, East Sussex, the gamble failed. Police, who had been watching closely, swooped in. Officers seized the carefully hidden boxes. That single raid exposed the true scale of Uaz's empire, and for the first time, the machine began to break down. The real undoing of the gang, however, came from their own carelessness. When police seized mobile phones, they discovered a digital trail that left little to the imagination. WhatsApp chats showed plans for pickups, coded instructions, and even jokes about their smuggling runs. Group names like Unload One revealed exactly what they were doing. Payments, dates, and routes were all neatly stored in the phones. Every careless word typed late at night became another nail in their coffin. Detectives didn't just have suspicion, they had proof. As the investigation widened, arrests began. The once tight-knit operation started to crumble. Some members tried to vanish, slipping off the radar. Others, rattled by police pressure, made mistakes. Perhaps the strangest incident involved Russell King. After weeks of avoiding police, he bizarrely reappeared in Birmingham, running openly in the streets as if nothing had happened. It was reckless, it was arrogant, and it gave the police exactly the chance they needed. The empire Uaz had built with discipline and secrecy was now collapsing under arrogance and panic. By late 2024, the case reached Lewis Crown Court. Prosecutors laid bare the entire network. Jurors heard how a man in prison could control operations worth tens of millions, all through a smuggled phone. They saw the seized boxes, the vans, the ferry records, and, most damning of all, the WhatsApp evidence. The defense argued what they could, but the story was too complete. Piece by piece, the Crown presented a picture of a criminal empire that had grown too bold to remain hidden. In that courtroom, the story of the smuggling ring was dismantled, just as surely as their empire had been on the streets. The verdicts were brutal but inevitable. Joseph Goods, James Corbett, Russell King, Anthony Moore, Lee Norris, Reza Sarabi, Christopher Budsko, and Tadas Lapsu were each handed long prison sentences. Their empire was stripped from them, their freedom reduced to cold prison walls. And at the center of it all was Arturus Uaz. He had already pleaded guilty, but as 2025 began, the man who built an empire from a prison cell still awaited his final sentencing. The irony was sharp. The prison he had used as a base of operations would soon become his cage for even longer. The story of Uaz and his gang is not just one of smuggling. It is a story of arrogance, of men who believed that ordinary vans and cardboard boxes could hide an empire forever, of a leader who thought prison walls could not touch him. But crime leaves a trail, whether it's boxes on a ferry or careless words on WhatsApp. For a while, the system worked. For a while, they made millions. But empires built on deception always fall. And when this one came crashing down, it proved once again that in the underworld of organized crime, there are no safe bets, only ticking clocks waiting to run out. If you found this story gripping, make sure to subscribe to UK Crime Hub for more in-depth true crime documentaries from across the UK.